Warning, we are about to spoil 10 to 20 different films. That's right, we're doing our top 10 list, and honestly, we kind of slip up a few times on all of the movies. So if you hear a movie that you still plan on watching, skip ahead about 5 minutes. I can't time code exactly everything due to limited time of my own failure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Roulette. My throat almost gave out there, but I saved it because I'm just that good.
We're back with another top 10.
Yes, we are, which we know what it is now, but you guys don't, so should we show the wheel spin?
I guess.
I guess we could do that there. Here you go, guys. Here you go. Just for consistency's sake. Oh,
Wow,
what's that?
That was neat.
Man, top 10 guilty pleasures? Wow, we didn't know.
Wow, we didn't know that for 2 months and then sit through all the movies we needed to. Some of us waiting till literally the night we're recording.
Well, okay, to be fair, that was due to scheduling conflicts. I would have had that done a few days ago, but then all the Blues Fest shit came up, so...
I'd like to note 2 months we've known.
Well, yeah, I had most of my list done by then. I just didn't get around to watching it. Yeah, I guess that's a little silly, but oh well. Fuck it. We're here now. We have the lists. Let's go into it.
Except, let's have a caveat.
Oh no.
Because while the title says top 10 guilty pleasures, we don't feel guilty.
No, we are defining this a little differently. This is just the title. I guess that'd be the easiest for the mainstream audiences to understand. We're judging it a little differently because, like you said, we don't feel guilty about these. We enjoy these to some level.
Well, it's more the fact, like, if you enjoy a movie, just fucking enjoy it. Don't be like, well, I know I shouldn't enjoy this because my taste palette is for the classics like The Godfather or Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, it's like, if you enjoy something, just fucking enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that.
So this is kind of more of a list of movies we like but others don't, or the way I at least organized mine was how defendable something is. If it's at number 10, I think you can defend it with the film's own merits, and lower near number 1, that's like just purely emotional reason on why I enjoy the movie.
Yes. So, well, my number 1 is kind of emotional, but it's also ties into my job. So.
Ooh. Okay.
I guess without saying too much, it's as a filmmaker I do that. So.
Gotcha.
All right, but yeah, like we said, we're organizing it. Basically, the main thing of organization is most defendable on the movie's merits to least defendable on the movie's merits.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Well,
if it doesn't, just call it top 10 guilty pleasures and move on.
Who went first last time? I forget.
I don't fucking know. It's been like a year since we've done a top 10.
Has it been that fucking long?
I think I went first in the first episode, so you went first in the second top 10, so I would be going first again.
So you just remembered it. Okay, cool.
I'm assuming here.
Just do it. Just go for it. I'll let you go first then.
Okay. Number 10. My number 10, number 9 can actually be interchanged with a lot of movies, and I'll explain that when we get to number 9. But my number 10 is Guns Akimbo.
Suck my clit. No one is killing fuckboy here.
Yay!
Except me, of course.
Oh.
Really?
Yes. Okay. And the reason this is number 10 is because I enjoy... My favorite, like, comfort films are over-the-top action movies. Guns Akimbo fits for these type of movies that just know what the fuck they are.
Mm-hmm.
It establishes its tone instantly. like all the negative reviews I saw were like, this was too jokey, or this was too internet-y of a movie. It set that tone in the first 5 minutes. If you were expecting
Yeah.
it to change, why?
It's about a guy who has guns for hands.
Yeah, it's about
Like, that's the whole setup. Like, come on.
It's some Reddit troll getting guns literally,
Yeah.
like, not glued, nailed to his hands, basically, and forced to be in a death race live stream type thing.
Yeah. Like, this is, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, if you didn't know the type of movie that you were getting into in the first 5 minutes, clearly you didn't watch the same movie as us.
Another movie like this would be Shoot 'Em Up, but I felt Guns Akimbo was probably a little more well known, especially because there's that fucking meme of Daniel Radcliffe on set.
Those were hilarious. That was a great meme.
I love the one where it's Ron and Harry Potter. He's driving the car, and you see Daniel Radcliffe with the two guns just standing out there.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, this Shoot 'Em Up, Hardcore Henry, all just movies that are fun. There isn't some deeper meaning here. I have a good time. They set their tone almost instantly that this isn't something to take seriously. You sit back, you have some popcorn,
Yeah.
maybe drink, get high, whatever. Have a good time for like 90 minutes and then you're done.
Exactly. Honestly. So.
There's no need to get fucking pissy about it. Have a good time. It's what people say the Marvel movies are.
Yeah. I do love that for certain franchises and certain movies. It's like they say, oh, just turn your brain off and have fun. And then for like one that everyone hates, you finally do that. And they're like, no, that one was actually terrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that's always the defense I hear if I get annoyed with a Marvel movie, which there is more reason to that, but we'll do a topic episode some fucking day.
Yep. Which by that day, it might have entirely died down by then. And it would be a retrospective. That would be nice.
That would be nice. But that's an excuse people will say for a Marvel movie, and then they'll hate on a movie like this, where that's literally the point, is you sit back and have a good time.
Exactly.
But off topic, that is my number 10. I don't really have to go too much into Guns Akimbo. Just fun.
All right, so are you good then?
Yeah, I'm good.
My number 10 was a very similar reason to that. It's a silly, stupid movie that's really good to turn your brain off to. It establishes what it is really fast, but it's not Guns Akimbo. Guns Akimbo, I actually didn't even put on the list. I was debating it for this position, but I ended up ultimately not putting it on there because I just thought it was a great movie in general. I love the style. I love the action scenes. I thought that was well done. I was like, how can you hate this? But my number 10 is Drive Angry 3D.
No one has to add the 3D. I don't even think you can get a 3D copy of the Blu-ray
I don't think
anymore.
you can, which is hilarious. But this movie is so stupidly over the top and hilarious, and it knows what it is, and it just kind of rolls with it. Like, it's Nick Cage being at some of his cagiest. It's great. I love it. And it's very trashy. Like that's the thing about the movie. Very trashy, very like a lot of Southern hicks and stuff like that, but it's just a lot of fun. I had such a good time watching it. And I don't know. I don't know if it got bad reviews. I think it got meh reviews when it came out, if I'm not mistaken.
It didn't get much attention at all.
Yeah.
So
didn't get much attention at all, but it was just a dumb, silly, over-the-top action movie. I'm with Justin on that. I love that shit. I don't even care. And it's one that I can't really go too in deep with, except it's so over the top. It's ridiculous. What's the song playing when the guy comes in on the truck? What's that song?
That's the way.
Yeah.
I like it.
One of the main villains comes in like standing on top of the truck, like crashing through all these things as "That's the way, I like it" by Kool and the Gang plays. I mean, what the fuck? How can you not laugh at that?
And it is in some of the worst CGI, which somehow makes it better.
It does. It just adds to the movie is the terrible CG. And there were a lot of moments that were clearly like, ooh, look, it's 3D. It's popping right in the picture. I kind of love it for that. So, yeah, it's my number 10. So.
Yeah, number 10. Easy peasy.
Number 9.
Well, my number 9 is a movie we have not talked about enough.
Okay.
It's Drive Angry.
Aha!
No goddamn way. No ever-loving way in God's good heaven are you an FBI agent.
Need you boys to stand down.
There we go. I
Okay.
did the movie clip thing.
All right, that's
Again,
cool.
possibly a different clip. I'll see in the edit.
Just do the truck scene. That's all you have to do.
No, because that has a copyrighted song and that's going to definitely get fucking flagged.
Oh, fuck, you right. Okay.
I might do the sheriff's reaction after it.
Yeah. The guy-
No goddamn way you're...
Yeah. Because he's
Also, the sheriff is played by the main character from Halloween 3. That's just fun.
who I swear he's always looked old.
Always has.
like I swear, like, was he just born with white hair and a mustache? Like, let's be honest here.
But yes, like Cameron said, this is a very fun movie. However, I put it number 9 because there is a slight difference between Drive Angry and stuff like Guns Akimbo. Both have the same tone. However, there could be some things in Drive Angry seen as problematic, and I understand that there are other over-the-top action movies with just shitty things in it.
Yeah.
I mean, in Drive Angry, Cage is kind of a womanizer. I'm pretty sure there's some... Was there some homophobia? I forget.
In Drive Angry, that wouldn't surprise me.
I forget if there was. We were kind of high.
Yeah.
Or were we high when we watched it? I don't honestly remember.
I know we were when we watched Redline. Well, I watched Redline and you passed out. But
I passed out. That was too much. It's great that everything's legal in Illinois.
right?
But yeah, there's a bit of homophobia. I'm pretty sure they say the R slur a couple of times. There's action movies like this, and I understand if people can't look past those things.
Yeah.
But I'm personally able to a degree.
Mhm.
There is stuff like Mache Returns where it just goes too far in a couple of places, and I couldn't get through it.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
That's for another day. But Drive Angry, and other films like it, I'm trying to think because I had examples and now my brain's just like. A lot of cheesy canon stuff for like 80s action flicks where every villain is, well, no, even in 2000s where every villain is an ethnic stereotype.
Oh Jesus.
There was a movie called Peppermint where like all of the, or as I call it, Karen John Wick, where it was the cartel, and there's literally a scene where the best shot of the movie takes place in a piñata shop. The cartel has it set up as in a piñata shop. Okay.
Of course it does.
But yeah, that's what the stand-in here is. It's for those over-the-top action movies. I mean, you have Nicolas Cage chewing on a big cigar,
Yeah.
balls deep in a waitress, rolling around, holding a bottle of whiskey as well, shooting cultists who are trying to kill him. It's fucking... That scene
Yeah.
alone is worth watching the movie.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
It's a Ghost Rider movie without Ghost Rider. It's great.
It's what Ghost Rider should have been.
Ghost Rider 2 should have been. Ghost Rider 1's debatably good.
Yeah, I did watch that. I don't remember hating the first Ghost Rider, but it's been way too long.
It's probably just meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what number 9 is for. It's for fun action movies with some problematic elements.
And you're absolutely right about that, because realizing this, I should have switched the two. I think I should have switched my 9 and 10 now, really thinking about it.
Well, what is your number 9?
Well, my number 9 is the James Bond film Moonraker.
Okay, the one I'm excited to get to if
Yes.
we'd like to land on Bond more often.
Oh, I was gonna say I think the odds will never be in our favor for that one. But Moonraker's a joy to watch, and I realize Drive Angry has more problems than Moonraker, so I probably should have switched them. But you know what? Fuck it. I don't. That's how it is now.
Too late now.
Too late
We're
now.
recording.
Yep. Exactly. This film is fucking hilarious. It is not a James Bond movie in the traditional sense. It's excuse me. Because just to give slight background on what led up to this is, Bond series started out Sean Connery, like a more serious, action-oriented spy film, and which got kind of slowly more over the top, and it kind of found the perfect balance with Goldfinger, with like over-the-topness and actual serious like spy elements, where it was just like really cool. Because there's a lot of dumb shit in Goldfinger, but it works because it found its balance between silly and really serious. And then that kind of went on a little bit until Diamonds Are Forever, which is one of my least favorite Bond movies, because the Bond series, for some reason at that point, really wanted to go in a more campy direction. And they I don't know why. I think it's because like spy movies at the time were starting to get silly. There were a lot more spy comedies at that time, so maybe the James Bond series wanted to cash in on that. Diamonds Are Forever sucked because it tried to be campy, but there was no reason behind the camp. It was just random campy moments for the sake of being campy. For example, there's a scene where Sean Connery drives around a moon rover in the middle of the desert because haha, campy.
That's funny that he found a moon
Yeah.
rover.
But Sean Connery was not a campy Bond. He was one of the best serious Bonds. But Roger Moore, when he became Bond in Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun and all that, he was a good campy Bond. He had a really good balance between like serious moments and like really campy over the top shit. Spy Who Loved Me was great. And the thing about Moonraker that I love is in the credits of The Spy Who Loved Me, because in every James Bond movie up until that point it said James Bond will return in blank, and that's the next title of the movie. In Spy Who Loved Me it says James Bond will return in For Your Eyes Only. And that was the next book they were going to adapt. But then Star Wars happened. And the James Bond series decided, wow, look at how much money Star Wars is making. A spy movie isn't going to compete with that. Let's take James Bond and put him in space. And I think it was the only time the James Bond, well, actually, no, it was the second time James Bond series cashed in on something that was popular. Because Live and Let Die, when we get to it, is a blaxploitation movie.
Oh.
Yeah, James Bond tried to cash in with blaxploitation with Live and Let Die. And for this one, it tried to cash in on Star Wars. And it ended up being one of the most stupidly over-the-top Bond movies ever made. And it's hilarious. Like, this is not a movie to go in serious. This was one to just go in and have fun. It opens with James Bond in an airplane, making out with a woman because, of course, but then the pilot betrays him, shoots out the airplane, and then the airplane starts falling. So James Bond then has to get a parachute, jumps out. Jaws is in this movie because he was popular in The Spy Who Loved Me, so let's bring him back. Jaws jumps out with the pilot jumps out with a parachute, and James Bond jumps out. He doesn't have a parachute, and he's going after the pilot, and he has to like grab his parachute and put it on himself, kick the pilot away, and then
Is he still holding the woman?
No, the woman I think dies. I think she gets shot or something.
Oh, rip.
Yeah, but yeah, he has to steal the parachute away from the guy, and then Jaws opens his parachute. His parachute doesn't work, so he's like, and then falls into a circus tent, and that's where the credits start. That's the opening of the movie.
I'm assuming Jaws survives this?
Yes, because Jaws in this movie was relegated from kind of threatening presence in The Spy Who Loved Me to he's the comedic foil in this movie. He's there just for slapstick comedy now.
Just the idea of Bond having a slapstick character is fucking mind-boggling.
I know. Jaws is there pretty much solely for comedy. Like, there's one kind of badass moment where they're on top of a, like, big tram in the mountains, because of course they are, because the action scenes are goddamn ridiculous in this movie. And, like, he actually takes, like, the wire that's holding him and, like, bites through them. That's kind of a cool moment, but that's about it. But yeah, and then this movie, as if that wasn't enough, it ends with James Bond finding a secret underground Aztec temple, which doubles as a space launching base. He has to get onto a rocket, goes into space, and has this big, like, pew, 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 pew shootout with all these guys. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, and it is a joy to watch. And with the next movie, they did actually adapt For Your Eyes Only, but I think they realized, we can't top this for over-the-topness. we just can't. So let's dial it back a little bit. And For Your Eyes Only is pretty much just like a straight spy fare with a few campy things, but they realized we need to take it back to its roots just a little bit because this is getting a little ridiculous.
They just really had to reel it in after that. Like, we may have gone a bit too far here.
Yes. Insert George Lucas clip.
No.
I know. But yeah, that's my number 9.
Number 8. For my number 8, I think people are coming around on this movie. Because I've been seeing I saw a little bit of less hate for it in a Grindhouse group.
That's good.
But my number 8 is the 2009 Friday the 13th.
Now, was this one of the ones you had to rewatch?
Yes, I did rewatch this one.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen it since I was 11 when it came out.
Nice. Yeah, I hadn't watched, I think, since around the time it came out as well. Like, I was obviously older than you were, but I still hadn't seen it in, like, at least 5 years. And I remember not hating it. So what's your verdict on this?
I think it's really good. It's honestly, out of the Friday the 13th movies I've watched, I like it probably the most. Not counting Freddy vs. Jason, which that's gonna piss people off.
Yeah.
But the reasoning here is, people have kind of dubbed him Survivalist Jason, is fucking brutal and terrifying.
Wow.
Because this Jason runs.
Oh, he's not just like a big lumbering presence. He actually runs.
No, he runs, he sets up traps, and he knows what the hell he's doing.
Damn, son.
Like, one of the opening kills is him putting someone in a sleeping bag, hanging them up over a fire, and just burning them alive.
That's pretty brutal.
That's just fucked.
Jesus.
You got bear traps, you got people getting stabbed through the top of the head as they're trying to hide.
Damn.
He's just a scary motherfucker, and he like keeps people alive screaming to try and get the other teens to run outside and help them.
Oh, so this Jason has a little bit of a brain too. Okay.
Which, I don't know where he found I guess he found like a Vietnam survival guide at Camp Crystal Lake over all these years.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's terrifyingly powerful in this. It isn't just, I am a slow lumbering killer and I have sharp weapons. It's, I hate everyone and I will murder anyone.
Nice. Yeah, sorry, when you said sleeping bag, now I'm just thinking of the one infamous moment where he picks up the sleeping bag and just beats the person to death against a tree.
Oh yeah, that one's a good kill too. Yeah. But and this is made by Michael Bay's company Platinum Dunes, and it has the washed out colors of the 2009 horror remakes that happened at the time. Mm-hmm. The teen characters, while not the worst out of all the remakes, are still pretty weak. But then again, Friday the 13th didn't have many strong teen characters, besides for like 2 movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad they kept that tradition at least.
Go ahead, tell me the teens in the first Friday the 13th matter. You're wrong.
Come on. Like, you probably remember what a few of them look like, but they're just generic.
I remember what they look like dead.
Yeah, right. But they're just generic Freddy? Jason.
No.
Jason. I was thinking, my brain thought Freddy versus Jason, and it was trying to think of Jason, but it just kind of started saying the title.
Nice.
But I even forget where I was going to say about Jason. So continue.
But yeah, I think this just it's a solid slasher. Jason is scary. The kills are fun. The editing isn't atrocious.
There you go.
And I just like what they do here.
Yeah.
It's a solid, fun slasher. It's not scary.
Is it not?
It's not super scary. I mean, there is the intimidation of Jason being this fucking 6'8".
I was say, I remember there being a bit of atmosphere in the movie, from the little I do remember from it.
It's normal horror. It's not like anything impressive. It's if you're expecting, someone lurking in the shadows, it's that type of atmosphere, but it's not something where it's like, ooh, it stays with you after watching. It's a slasher.
Yeah, exactly.
But a damn fun one. Also, it has a dude from Supernatural, which is just kind of funny.
Oh, that's great.
Which I think Supernatural was in like season 2 or 3, so I don't know what he's doing here, but okay, he needs something to do between seasons.
Now, I will add to this. I think that the main reason this movie failed was because it came out at a time there were just a shit ton of remakes of series and reboots, and it just kind of got lost.
Yeah, there was the Texas Chainsaw remake. I think Nightmare on Elm Street came out after. Rob Zombie's Halloween was a thing.
I think it just got lost in the fracas and the huge influx of remakes all of a sudden. So, and it just kind of got buried, which is unfortunate because there's clearly thought and stuff put behind it. Like, they tried to change it up. So
yeah, they still stayed true to Jason. It feels like its own Friday the 13th movie instead of just trying to retrace the steps of one of the other ones.
Exactly.
It's clearly made by people who cared about the series.
Mm-hmm.
But survivalist Jason.
Yep, and it never got a sequel, so
not even though, if I remember correctly, there is a classic, ooh, the killer might still be out there.
Oh, do they do that little cliffhanger? Of course.
I think they do a repeat of sort of the Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th ending.
Gotcha.
Anyway, what is your number 8?
Well, my number 8 also comes from a famous horror series, and that's Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddys Dead.
Get out of here now!
Hey, you forgot the power glove!
I do love this movie. Like, it's so silly. It has the same type of thing as Moonraker, but I feel it's a little less defendable because it just it surprisingly feels a little less coherent and less put together. And I know there are a ton of people who hate this movie, like with a searing passion. This movie sucks. It's the worst Nightmare on Elm Street. It's so terrible. And it's not a good Nightmare on Elm Street film. On its own merits, though, as a comedy, it's a fantastic. And I think people are going into this kind of with the wrong mindset. Like, because Freddy has always been an over-the-top villain. He has always, killed people in stupid ways and stuff like that, even from the, first movie. Like, it's well established. And this one just kind of goes even more over the top. It just amplifies everything that was just kind of great about Freddy. And to a ridiculous amount, and I kind of love it for it. So, I mean, for God's sake, the opening has Freddy riding on the broom like the Wicked Witch of the West. Like, for God's sake, come on! It sets it.
It's like, I'll have your little soul too.
I mean, right away, that sets the tone of the fucking movie. Like, come on! If you didn't know it was going to be like that going, and I think you're a liar, but. Overall, super enjoyable. Robert Englund is always great. Like, even in the worst movies, he always gives it his all, and he's just so enjoyable. My God. And the kills are still great, even though the movie's really silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, Robert Englund is just one of the best. It's probably the best classic slasher.
And he seems like a really
Freddy.
Oh yeah, and he seems like a really wholesome dude in real life too. He seems really nice.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you gotta love it. And I think he's me and Justin's favorite slasher because I think we just go. I think we say Nightmare on Elm Street's the best just because it has the most enjoyable movies out of all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, we still do have to watch the 5th one because I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, out of all the big slashers, Nightmare on Elm Street, all of them are really enjoyable. Even the worst of them is still watchable.
Yeah, because in all the kills, at least, or in all the movies at least, the kills are always consistently really good and enjoyable, and a lot fucked up most of the time. That bug one I still hate. It's just disgusting to me. Ugh.
That was I forget who made that. He's like known for doing bug shit.
It's disgusting. Like that's the thing. They were always practical in the movies, which is great.
Is it Madman George?
Possibly. I'm not sure on that.
I forget.
I'll have to look that up later. But yeah, that's my number 8.
Insert transition for 7.
All right.
My number 7 is a movie we haven't talked about enough.
Uh-huh.
It's called Freddys Dead.
Oh, wow.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul, too.
So you're right about there being 3 on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, we were almost in the same spot, but I switched around Friday the 13th and Freddys Dead right before we started. Because I think Friday the 13th is more the 2009 is more agreed upon as a at least decent movie.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people, like you said, who really fucking hate this movie.
Yep.
And I get it. It's sort of the same way I get people not liking Resident Evil 5. I enjoy Resident Evil 5 because I like the over-the-topness, and it's probably one of the best co-op third-person shooters from that generation.
Yes.
But with the tone of the rest of the Resident Evil series, it fucks it up super hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. Same with Freddy's Dead. Compared to the other movies, this is the Moonraker of just going way too far into comedy. But I think it works. Besides the opening, well, also in the opening, there's a scene of the character that's Frey's fucking with. He keeps waking up, Frey does something terrifying, and then he wakes up in bed again. And finally, he pouts and sits in bed and goes, I'm not getting out of this bed. All of a sudden, a fire starts at the end of the bed. He goes, God damn it.
That's hilarious. I mean, come on.
There's shit like that.
Yeah.
There's, when they're going to Elm Street, one person falls asleep in back and they keep opening a map and they're trying to find where they are, but the map keeps getting bigger and bigger until finally they get to the center where it just says, you're fucked in big bold letters. It's great.
Yeah.
Some of the characters are badly written because it's a slasher.
Yeah, for God's sake, come on. No one goes to a slasher movie for the characters.
If you have well-written characters in a slasher, that's a bonus.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I think Cameron covered most of it. It's just I find it a very funny movie as well. Freddy is always enjoyable. I love the creativity of the kills, even if some use cheap effects like the video game kill.
Yeah. Wow, the power glove.
Hey, you forgot the power glove.
Shit like
I would pay so much fucking money to have that. Like the steampunk evil version of the power glove that's in the movie.
Right?
I want that replica. I want it to work.
I wonder if that prop still exists. Hopefully.
No. I want it to work.
Yeah, that would be
I want to be able to plug into a computer or something and play a game with it.
Yes. Oh my god. That would be the best.
I mean, there's a dude who's played video games with bananas, so I'm sure you could find some way to make it work.
I'm sure, yeah. Like, I do kind of love that. So, people playing video games with the wrong controllers. And there was a guy, I think, who did a racing game on the DK bongos. It's ridiculous. It's shit like that.
Pretty sure it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's his whole shtick, is he plays it with weird shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a side story.
Did you know bananas are radioactive?
Are they technically?
Yeah, like
Really?
very lightly, but they are radioactive.
Interesting.
Weird. But yeah, that's my number 7, Freddys Dead.
All right.
So what you got, Boyle?
Wait, you mean that was that 7 or?
That was we're at 7, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, brain. Okay, my number 7. Yeah, so 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay. Cameron being bad at math again.
Counting 1 and 10, Cameron's most difficult task to date.
I know. My number 7 also comes from a very famous franchise as well, and it is Alien 3.
Are you gonna specify director's cut?
Yes, I am. Because, well, kind of, sort of. Here's the thing about Alien 3. I am going to specify the director's cut is far superior to the theatrical cut. But even judging it just by the theatrical cut, I didn't hate the movie. Theatrical cut has way more problems and way less room to breathe just because there's a lot cut out of it. And obviously, like, it was just such a troubled production. Like, we could make a whole episode on the production history of this movie and why it fucking was terrible. But long story short, I think the original director left or got fired or something, and then they brought David Fincher in. Alan Smithy. To finish.
My favorite director.
Yeah, to finish the film. And he basically was thrown into this production that was already started, like, in shambles and stuff, and he had to pick up the pieces, finish it, and make it work somehow. And I feel so bad for the guy. Like, this was his first movie major movie he ever worked on. And, yeah. That was what he had to work on.
I don't feel bad for David Fincher. I feel bad for the studio.
Oh, what?
Because all they wanted was a director who would sit down and do what they said. And they picked a dude who's a fucking perfectionist.
Now, they didn't know this at the time because he had never directed a mainstream movie before. But yeah, David Fincher is a known perfectionist. And they want someone who would just be like, oh yeah, they could just tell, go do this. And they'd go do it. But no. Nope. He tried his darndest to make it work. And the fact that it turned out as good as it did is a miracle unto itself. But yeah, even in its theatrical cut, I didn't hate it. Here's something the movie still has. The movie still has atmosphere. The movie is still scary. And while it is a bit of a step down from Aliens, in terms that, like, you know, Aliens had a bunch of them, and this is back to the singular monster terrorizing a big group of people, it still works somehow. It's still scary at times, and there's still some really cool things in it. Like, there's a scene at the end where, like, the alien is jumping on walls, and you see it from its vision, and it, like, jumps, and, like, the camera turns and stuff. It just has really cool stuff like that. And I also, besides, you know, the fact that I thought it was okay, I also admire the balls the movie had. Because it had the balls to kill off Sigourney Weaver at the end.
Spoilers.
Yeah. I would say if you want to put a spoiler warning for this one at the beginning, you can. But yeah, it had the balls to do that. And I admire it for that because it wanted to stop the franchise. It was like, this is the last movie. You can't go anywhere without your main antagonist, right? Right? Resurrection just slowly fades in.
It's called Resurrection. What do you want?
Yeah, but it ended it like that. That was going to be the end of the franchise. And it's a gut punch, but I admire it for going all the way with it. And it's a dark movie. This is not a happy movie. This is a very negative, very nihilistic outlook on life. And it's interesting to me. And it takes place entirely like on a prison planet or something. It's an interesting setup. And I like it. And I think it, despite all its huge issues, it works. And if you are going to watch it, definitely do I think it's called the producer's cut, actually, quote unquote. So,
oh yeah, because Alan Smithy wasn't available for comment.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my number 7 because, and like I said, because of the organization, I feel it's less defendable than the other movies.
I still love that the name Alan Smithy stopped being used because I think it was a movie.
Yes.
Someone tried to make where it was about a director named Alan Smithy trying to make a movie, but everyone connected him to the name.
Yeah, his name was literally Alan Smithy.
And then that movie sucked so bad, no one wanted to use the name Alan Smithy, period.
The name that someone had come up with just to be a, joke name was tainted because of that. Isn't
Yes.
that hilarious? So yeah, that's my number 7. On to number 6.
For my number 6, I'm going to spend it complaining about the movie before it. My number 6 is Smoking Aces 2, The Assassin's Ball.
Hey, future Justin again. Remember how, like, with everything else, you've heard a movie sound clip, or if you're on the YouTube version, you've seen a small clip from the movie? Yeah, with Smoking Aces 2, I can't find anything on YouTube. I don't own the DVD, so I can't rip any scenes from it, and the film is very hard to find anywhere else. I am now convinced this movie doesn't exist. It was a fever dream, and everything I say about it may not be true. Yes, trailers are on YouTube, but they have copyright music, so I cannot put them in here or on the audio version. Anyway, back to me talking about Smoking Aces 2, The Assassin's Ball, which may or may not exist.
I know you mentioned briefly beforehand about why this was so much better than the first one, but I'm excited to let you just go on this one because I have not personally seen it. So,
Okay, so the setup of the Smoking Aces movie, of the movies, is there's a select target, and it's an open contract, so a bunch of assassins come at once, and, you know, they're all different quirky assassins. They're all trying to get the same target, so they're fighting with each other while also fighting whoever's protecting their target. The first movie spends the entire second fucking act in elevators trying to get to a penthouse where the target is. That's seriously it, I swear. And it just did not play with the idea of assassins fighting each other for one target at all. Smoking Aces 2 is shot like a Guy Ritchie film, and it's great.
that's awesome.
If I remember correctly, it's like because I didn't actually get to rewatch this movie. This is the one I didn't, which annoys me, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It's like, it's in a nightclub, and, well, there's a nightclub, and below the nightclub is a bunch of secret tunnels that lead to the bunker where they're keeping the politician. Also, apparently this movie is a prequel. I don't remember how or why.
Mm-hmm.
But you got... Each of the assassins feels like they're from their own movie, which makes it even better. It makes them stand out more when they fight each other. Like, you got a bunch of hillbillies who have these clearly scrapped together weapons, and they have high explosives. And then you have, what's his name?
Who?
The dude the burly motherfucker from, Snatch and, Lock, Stock. The one who played...
Yeah, I know who you're
who's
talking
the gun
about.
for hire.
Yes. I know who you're talking about. Keep talking. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's like a very spy sort of assassin. He has the suit. He has a big pistol. You got the twin sisters. You got the cowboys who are there for the bounty, and they're all just fighting while going after this guy, and everything goes to hell.
Vinnie Jones.
I wish he was in more stuff. I love seeing him.
He's great. He's big. He's intimidating. I'm pretty sure he was like, because he was in The Cape as well, right?
Yes, he was Scales.
Yeah, because I think he was like a former like professional soccer player or something, like a professional sports player. So
Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy.
right.
If I'm kicking the ball and all of a sudden that dude charges at me, nah, I'm
Nope.
good.
Nope.
The ball is his now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just plays to this silly idea, and it has the editing of those Guy Ritchie movies, which is probably why he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people hate it because of that style, and you just kind of have to quickly get, oh, this is trying to be like Snatch. It's debatable if it works, because it is a bit faster and it's not as clean as Ritchie is able to do it. But I still personally found it fun.
Yeah, like even if it isn't like a perfect clone of it, it still works, huh?
Yeah, I think it still worked. And I just love the setup of all these assassins fighting each other. That's funny to me.
That's great.
And has I won't say what it is because it doesn't really make the movie better or worse, but I like the twist at the end, and also the ending is actually a punchline, which is great.
That's awesome.
But I won't give it away. Also, it has the guy who plays Riggs in the Lethal Weapon TV series.
Oh, yeah. I forget.
He also
his name
does a great job.
I forget his name off the top of my head. Yeah, he's always great.
Yeah. So my number 6 was Smoking Aces 2. Fuck Smoking Aces 1.
It's brought to you by Smoking Aces 2 or Smoking Aces. Smoking Aces. Just watch Smoking Aces 2.
It's true.
So my number, and we're on 6 now, right?
Yep.
My number 6 is a movie that is absolutely less defendable than any of the previous ones. Yet this one and the one above it, I was debating switching, but I feel like this simply actually has more to defend on it, and I feel like it was unfairly butchered. My number 6 is actually the Flatliners remake.
Okay.
Because this film is the very definition of a fine. It's good. It has some decent moments. There's some memorable moments. And I remember it more than actually a lot of movies that we've reviewed on the show. Like, it stood out in my mind because the setup is very interesting. The characters are decent. They get better after the first half, and the first half has problems, but it's fine. It has some good horror sequences, and I really enjoyed the setup, and some good lines. And it was memorable because of that. But this movie was so fucking overhated when it came out. It's not even funny. Like, we're talking I think 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, all negative
it was below
reviews.
10%.
Worst horror movie I've ever seen, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this movie's fine. I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time watching it. And there are other movies that we've seen that I would much rather watch than Flatliners. And that is the logic, and that's why it's in this spot right here.
There are also worst horror movies on the wheel.
Yes.
That we covered Flatliners.
Exactly. This movie is fine. And again, there were parts of it that were clever and parts of it I really enjoyed. But this movie was so, butchered and, torn into when it came out. And I just feel like it wasn't worth it. It's like, guys, there are so many other terrible horror movies that are well worth your hate.
I'm sure there were worse horror movies that year than Flatliners.
Oh, I'm sure. So, but yeah, I felt that this movie was just fine. It was good, and I enjoyed it. So, I think people, even though the movie above it is not well regarded either, I think people are gonna get mad at me for that. So, yeah, that's my number 6.
I don't have a clever one here. 5.
All right.
My number 5, is also a horror movie that probably will get people mad if I say I like it.
Okay.
It's Resident Evil Apocalypse. Now, this movie, as a Resident Evil film, is terrible. It is an awful Resident Evil movie. It makes no fucking sense as a Resident Evil movie, and it's attached to a series that is basically Resident Evil in name only.
Mm-hmm.
However, as a zombie movie, this is some stupid bullshit, and I love it.
Yeah. Because I think we've touched on this briefly. Like, the first Resident Evil is a fine zombie movie, and the second one's a really good, just over-the-top movie.
I think the first Resident Evil movie works somewhat as a Resident Evil movie. It's not a good Resident Evil movie, but it does feel Resident Evil.
Yes.
This one has our Mary Sue jumping into a church on a motorcycle through a stained glass window, hitting a liquor, sending it up into the air, and then shooting 2 pistols to explode the motorcycle to annihilate the liquor.
I mean, that's fucking awesome. How can you not love that?
Or, it's so fucking great to watch a Mary Sue. This is the most fun I've had watching a Mary Sue since One Punch Man. Except this movie doesn't know it's doing a Mary Sue.
Yeah, because isn't Milla Jovovich her own character? She actually was not a character from the Resident Evil games.
Yeah, she's not from the games and is married to the director.
Yeah, her name in the series is Alice. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
But yeah, doesn't this also have Jill in it somewhere?
Yes, it does. And she does actually get her original outfit at one point, which is kind of neat.
That's cool. It's been too long.
She literally Jill walks into a police station as things are going to hell. Yeah. And, there are some zombies in there. She just walks in, bang, 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 not even looking as she takes them all out.
Hell yeah. And then there's Carlos from RE3, I remember, is also in there because we had to set him up for the next movie, which adapted, I think, the third one. So
you would think that, but it's also in a Mad Max apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because the T-virus evaporates all the water in the world except Alaska.
Oh, of course it does.
Mm-hmm. That is an actual plot point, by the way.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. The best Mary Sue moment is near the end of the movie. They're in a school because they have to go, because the whole city gets blocked off. They have to go save this little girl because the little girl's dad knows how to get them out of there and has a helicopter or whatever. Because he has political power.
Yes.
But Jill finds the little girl in the cafeteria. Zombies are coming in. So Jill starts lighting up the stove, or turning on the ovens but not sparking it, so that way, the room fills with gas. Mm-hmm. She throws a matchbook in as she runs out with the girl. However, the matches go out before it can light the gas. Luckily, Alice is there, smoking a cigarette, holding a shotgun, and she flicks the cigarette in. The explosion goes off. She grabs a fire blanket and tackle hugs the child to get engulfed in the flames, but still survive. It's the dumbest thing, and it's great to look at.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. Yeah. That's the thing. I don't remember hating this movie even when I first saw it. I remember hating the first one more so, but I think I've lightened up to that one since.
The first one definitely has more of a drag to it, especially in the first act.
But yeah, this one just kind of rolls with the over-the-top action scenes, and it's great.
It is just watching... it's watching someone play fucking Resident Evil on New Game Plus. It's great. So that's my number 5.
All right, so on to my number 5. Like I said, this is a movie that some people will probably be mad at me for putting over the Flatliners remake, even though it in and of itself is not well regarded. Number 5 is David Lynch's Dune.
The planet is Arrakis, also known as Dune.
You know who would hate this opinion?
David Lynch.
David Lynch.
I know David Lynch hates this movie as well, and he's probably like, "What? It's only there? It'll probably be higher." But I still really enjoyed this movie, and I don't know if it's because I just love David Lynch's style in general, but I really enjoyed this movie because not only were the practical effects fucking fantastic in the movie. It's just, I really liked the story and the weird ass fucking dialogue in it as well. It had kind of this operatic feel to it. Like, people use the term space opera a lot, but this really felt like it. Like there was a lot of like classical music used and stuff like that. And just some of the creativity as well. Like, Star Wars has kind of those weird like monsters and moments like that are just kind of rolled with. This kind of does the same thing. And I do know that it was the studio trying to compete with that, but I still really liked what David Lynch did with it, his interpretation, even if the story itself is very very jumbled and held together very loosely through Kyle MacLachlan's dialogue, because he plays the main character. He's Kyle Atreides in this, and he's great in it. I mean, I love Kyle MacLachlan and I love David Lynch, and I thought this was really creative and really well done. But it has problems. It has way more problems than the ones I think I mentioned previously. And that's why it's this high on the list, is because I don't feel like I can defend it. A lot of people don't like this movie, and their reasoning for it is 100% valid. But I still really thought it was well. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's worth watching. But hey, that's just me.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to watch it.
That's fair. Why is that?
Because I watched the documentary talking about what Dune was originally going to be, and it's like...
You can't beat that. You just can't. Like...
I do love a fact from that documentary. They're talking to the original director. I want to say his name, but it's very foreign.
Yeah, Andre... Oh, no, who was it? I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Anyway, go on. Jardowski, that's it.
Jardowski, yeah. But he talked about David Lynch's Dune because, you know, he was going to make it, but then the studio was like, this is taking too long, it will be too expensive. And he went in, and he felt very happy because it was terrible. He was like, oh, thank goodness. They didn't make a good one, so my idea is still better.
Yeah. I think it's pronounced Jodorowsky because it's Jodorowsky. But yeah, his original vision for it was ridiculously cool. Like, you were going to have Orson Welles as the villain. That's just cool as fuck.
And also, due to him trying to make that movie, we got Alien.
Yeah, exactly, because H.R. Geiger was attached to it, yeah?
Yeah, and also I think I think one of the writers worked on Alien and Dune. Well, he was working on Dune, but once the project fell through, he went to work on Alien, and they were like, who do we get to make the monster? Oh, I know this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you go watch the documentary of that?
Yeah.
Jodorowsky?
It's like Jodorowsky.
I always forget.
Something like that. I think Jodorowsky, but I'm probably also butchering it. That's my literal pronunciation of how it's spelled, so I don't know if that's at all accurate.
That name, Dune, I might just throw it in the show notes and description. Anyway, so that was number 5. Now it's time for number 4.
Yes, it is. So what is your number 4?
We both have the same number 4. We've been over this.
I know it is, but I want you to say it.
It's a movie. No one listening to this has heard of this movie. And I know that because the only way to get it right now is going on eBay on the director's account to order one of the limited run DVDs.
Well, no. We watched it on Prime, yeah?
Yeah, it is on Prime still.
So yeah, that's not the only way to get it.
That's the only way to physically get it is to go on eBay.
And the funny thing is, well, actually, we'll get into that after you.
Hold on, wait. Let me look at the
Johan Carlo.
Johan Carlo's Gun Driver.
Gun Driver.
Okay, so this movie we watched on a complete whim one night.
Tell them, I was gonna say, tell them how we found out about this and what we like to do sometimes on Amazon and Netflix and all that.
Okay, if you don't have Amazon Prime, you wouldn't know that there is absolutely anything on there. Anything's allowed on there. There is no quality control. Yeah. I'm pretty sure a Roblox movie is on Prime.
Yeah.
So, low-budget horror movies and action movies are on there, and we sometimes just go through Prime, we see what the hell's on there, and we watch the cheesiest fucking shit. This had a stereotypical post-apocalyptic plot, was less than 90 minutes, and called fucking Gun Driver. Yeah. So fuck it, let's watch it.
The thing that sold me in the description was that the bad guy was the self-titled Boss of America.
Yeah, it's set in the year 2017, 10 years after the end of the final World War. A nuclear, biological, chemical war that resulted in near complete destruction of the planet. It's shit like that, and it's great. By great, I mean it's terrible.
Yeah, like he said, his comfort food and mine too is cheesy, stupid action movies, and this one was just great because it was so low budget. And the scene that had me dying laughing was the truck chase or whatever, where the people were going. They were going like 2 miles an hour, and the bad guys were literally running with the vehicle and like trying to kill them. It's ridiculous.
Because the one of the main characters gets in the back of the truck and they were hiding there, but it starts moving. So one of the other main characters is running after a truck, but the truck's driving at 2 miles an hour, so they're just able to run up, jump on, and pull the driver out.
Literally, they're just able to keep up with the car. That's how slow it's going, and it's like played up like da 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 da, like this action scene. But oh lord, it's so funny.
But they pull out the driver too, and then he gets crushed under the tires. But it's so clearly a dummy in the next shot.
Yeah. Oh god.
And also, I'd like to note, we both did get physical copies that are signed by a director and come with storyboards.
Yeah, we you can put a picture of that there if you want, but yeah, it's signed.
Are you sure you don't want me to put yours, which is literally one frame because it's the last shot of the movie?
It's so funny because it included like an actual hand-drawn storyboard, and Justin got a normal one. I think yours has what, 4 frames, 6 frames?
I think it's 6.
And mine has 1 because it's literally the last shot of the movie. I was like, yes, I got the final shot. Yeah. And the thing that I feel kind of bad about is these DVDs are a limited special edition signed by the director himself. And I think it was limited to what, like 500, 1,000 copies. You can still buy it.
I actually do recommend watching this on Prime. And if it's your thing, go buy from the director. You might want to message him too on eBay because we had to. He was like, oh, sorry, I forget to check this sometimes.
Yeah, because it probably hardly anyone ever does it. So
we need to do an episode on Gun Driver. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's honestly great.
It is. It's trash, but it's our kind of trash.
Absolutely. The thing that worries me is I would totally want to ask the director like to come on and talk about it. Mm-hmm. But there's a 50-50 chance of him either thinking he totally made the coolest thing ever or being in on the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because this movie actually, the reason I love it, at least, is even though it's cheap, it's kind of slow at times, the acting isn't great, you can feel the heart in wanting to make a movie.
It's one of those things where it's an indie production, and there's a couple movies we could point to which it has a certain charm to it, because this person clearly did not have the budget to make what he originally envisioned, and it was very low budget and hardly anyone ever saw it, but you can feel the passion and the want to make this movie behind it, and that makes it really enjoyable. Like, you can always tell somehow if a movie is just going by the numbers, whatever, didn't want to make this movie, and a movie that someone really wanted to make. And the person, he made this movie, and he's very clearly proud of what he made because he's selling it with signed copies. Like, come on.
Yeah, you can also buy it through Vimeo if you want a digital version, but you can own a signed physical copy where it says your name and thanks, which is nice.
Yeah, it may not be HD, but it's cool as fuck. Like, come on. But yeah, we both really love this movie, and that's why it's our number 4. So you can go ahead with your number 3, because that was also my number 4.
Yeah. So, number 3. Now, my number 3 is not fucking defendable.
Yeah, my from here on out, will have less of a time defending them as well. These are ones that are basically not defendable now that we're in the top 3.
Honestly, number 3 should probably be number 1, but by defendability. But actually, 3 you can still watch as a movie and get some enjoyment out of it. It's God Bless America.
I, on the other hand, think your politics are shit.
Whoa, what?
it?
Yep.
Here's the thing. I don't know anything about this movie. What is God Bless America?
God Bless America is a time capsule. This is something where if you grew up in the late 2000s, you kind of get it. God Bless America is a movie where the main character is kind of just fed up with the world. He, reality TV's a pain in the ass. He's got loud, annoying neighbors, co-workers. He gets fired from his job because he was trying to be nice to a coworker and she filed it as sexual harassment.
Oh, jeez.
And then he finds out he has cancer and just snaps and kind of goes on a killing spree. Well, he was originally just going to kill one person, and then a little girl who also hates the world sees him do this, finds him, and is like, we should just go kill all the annoying people of the world. And that's what they do. They go try and watch a movie in theaters at one point to relax, and there's a bunch of people talking in the movie, so they just shoot him. They see the Westboro Baptist Church. They run them over and then take the main preacher and toss him off a cliff.
Oh, that must be satisfying as fuck to watch.
That is. And the way I want to describe this movie is James Rolfe, or the Angry Video Game Nerd, however you want to address him, did I forget which top 10 list it is, but one of them for Cinemassacre, he talks about Scarface and how one of the main positives of it is it feels like all this aggression just going out.
I think that was his top 10 movie shootouts.
I think it was too. And that's kind of what this movie is. It's just when the world gets on your fucking tits, just murders the shit out of everything. And I admit, this movie is mean. This movie is in bad fucking taste. It is not for everyone. Hell is probably a very small minority that will enjoy this, especially after all the fucking shootings and shit we've been through. But there is a part of me that still enjoys it, and I feel that I'll actually say this is probably the one film on the list where there is a slight level of guilt to enjoying this movie.
Interesting.
Just because of how in poor taste it is at times. Like, it opens with him imagining going over to his loud, annoying neighbors, shooting the husband, and then tossing their loud, annoying baby that they don't seem to care about into the air and shooting it with a shotgun so it explodes all over the room.
And is it gory and shit too?
Just blood, not like guts and everything,
Holy
but still,
shit!
It bursts like a balloon.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's the opening.
Holy shit! So it's about a guy who hates the world and finds out he has a terminal disease, and then decides to just fuck everything, shoot it.
Well, he was just going to kill one MTV joke of a character. But then he was going to go off himself. But a little girl saw this and is like, that was really rad of you. You should do more. And she comes along and does it too.
Man, the second Breaking Bad movie's looking good.
It's no wrong. Excuse me, Breaking Bad ripped this off. It came out before Breaking Bad. But yeah, that's God Bless America. And I admit, it's not for everyone. I can't even really recommend the movie to people. But I enjoy it.
That's fair.
It's like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. So that's number 3, huh?
Yep. That was my number 3. What is yours?
Oh, I need to stretch for a second. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Bitch.
Fuck, that felt good. But, yeah. My number 3 is one of the movies that I rewatched tonight. It's a movie that I would have a hell of a time trying to defend because it is objectively terrible. But I admire it for being so fucking out there. This is the comedy Spy Hard with Leslie Nielsen.
Miss Chivas, you wouldn't be trying to make things hard for me?
Oh, Dick, if only I could. But
You and I would work so well together deep undercover.
You know the agency's rules about secrecy. They're very rigid.
Yes, and we wouldn't want to blow it, would we?
Why don't you two just get a motel room?
Okay. First, why?
I had to rewatch this one because this fucking movie I remember watching, and I remember it distinctly. I think I had initially listed it as a guilty pleasure at one point before I met you. So I wanted to see if it held up at all. And this movie is psycho bonkers insane. Certifiably so. Because it is very clearly, obviously it's a spy comedy. It's a spy parody. Parody, that's the word I was looking for. It's spy parody. It's called Spy Hard. It's a spoof of the James Bond movies, but it's trying to be not Lethal Weapon. What's the famous one? Naked Gun. It's trying to be the Naked Gun, like stuff along those movies, like parody movies, but it goes completely over the top without actually knowing what makes it work. And there are so many random ass fucking moments in this movie that after a certain point, I just couldn't help but give in and just start laughing along with this. I said, what the fuck is this, so many times? Like, it throws everything at the wall and horribly fails in almost all of it. And that's kind of what makes it great. In the opening scene, there's a scene where, like, a mime is trapped or something, and it's the main villain, and they're like, take him outside and execute him, and be sure to use the silencer. And then as a guard is walking by, you see them with this giant mounted machine gun that you would use for like air raids and shit. And they put a pillow on the end of it and it just goes pew like a silencer and kills him. What?
I can't tell if that's great or stupid.
That's this movie in a nutshell. What the fuck was that? What even? And then there's a scene later on because they throw random parodies in there because that's how you know they're desperate. They're just, throwing a random...
Was it a 90s parody movie?
Yes. Well,
okay, yep.
Well, early 2000s, but I think. But,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the thing about... and like later on, there's, of course, a parody of Speed for no reason. But they get on the bus, and Ray Charles is driving the bus because, he's blind. And so it becomes a parody of Speed where like a bunch of punks get on and they cut the brakes and Leslie Nielsen has to like stop it. And then in the bus, there's like a dentist doing a thing while it's shaking around and people trying to top a cake. And then it goes off of a thing and it flies by the moon like a parody of E.T. and then lands. And what is this movie? What is this movie?
I can't tell if that's terrible or fun.
I know.
It's very confusing.
It's ridiculously confusing, but there are a couple of jokes in the movie that actually do work, which is the kind of the funny thing. What was the main one? I just had the main one in mind, but I forgot. Oh yeah, there's one where like a henchman gets killed or whatever, and in Naked Gun there was a running joke of like they do the body outline of dead bodies in like ridiculous positions. Like Leslie Nielsen walk onto a crime scene and there's like a body outline of someone doing like the mummy or something, like the mummy dance, or there's someone like going or something. But they shoot the guy, he falls into the body thing, but his arm is missing, and then right before he dies, he pulls his arm up to actually match it. And then there's one where like the main bad guy, of course, like betrays the woman. She's like, I thought you loved me. And he just goes, no, I was just using you. Like, there are moments that work, but the randomness of the rest of it, and it goes full on cartoony for no reason as well in like 3 different places. Like there's a scene in a church where there's a nun, and he like, I guess throws pee on her face or something. There's some toilet humor in this because early 2000s. But
yeah,
he like wraps a thing like what's the pump things they use to take your blood pressure? That one of those things around her head, and he pulls it tight, and her eyes like go out all cartoony, and then he bonks her on the head with something like bang in fast motion. I'm like, why did it just go full on cartoon? There was no reason for this. What the fuck? And I
Who
just
framed James Bond?
Yeah, and I admire it just for trying to just go all out, and it's so insane that I can't help but be captivated by it.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think the reason that this movie works way more than, say, you know, those infamous... What was the company that made all those parody movies in the early 2000s?
I don't remember.
That one, they made like, well, the same people who did Scary Movie, but that was actually funny. But yeah, there was like, you know, Disaster Movie, Meet the Spartans.
No, Russo Brothers is Marvel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, then, yeah.
But yeah,
I know it's a duo.
Yeah. I think the reason that this one works more than the other ones is because at least the pacing keeps up, and most of it is visual gags. It's not just a bunch of people standing around talking, trying to make something funny. And while there are just random ass references thrown in there, like it becomes Home Alone randomly for no reason. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's not literally just trying to pack as many references in there as possible. I'll compare it to a scene from Meet the Spartans where, you know, it's Leonidas kicking people into the pit and it gets progressively more over the top. And then it's American Idol for no reason, and Simon Cowell's there, like, judging him. And this talk goes on for like a minute or two. And it's just them talking and judging it, and it's not funny. I think the reason that this works over those movies is that it just keeps going. It just keeps up a pace, a certain, like, insane pace, whatever the fuck it's trying to go to. And I think that's why it works, is because there's no moments. I mean, it is cringe at times, but it's not like the whole movie is painful to sit through. I think that's the only reason I tolerate it other than that, and just because it just kind of rolls with it. So I know I went on a little longer than I wanted for that movie, but I just wanted to point out how fucking insane it was.
Number two. My number two has no fucking excuses here. It's the Cat in the Hat.
Did you just call my mother ugly? Shut up! I mean it. I will end you.
Cat, your tail.
What about it? Oh, I see. I've chopped it off. Well, that's interesting because... Son of a bitch!
Now, what is my defense here? I'm an immature child, and I find this funny.
I mean, is that it?
I literally can't. There's no logical reasoning here. Well, okay, you got the set design of, oh shit, I can't think. Because the director is mainly a set designer for, Tim Burton.
Yes.
It was his one movie. Bo Welsh,
that's his name.
So the sets are cool. I think the Cat in the Hat makeup ain't half bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing some, say that it looks like Mike Myers doesn't have much movement with it, but I think it still works.
Yeah.
I have no defense here. It's a short movie, and it makes me laugh all the way through.
Yeah. It has some good jokes.
I can't explain it.
Like, here's the thing that I think the reason it works is that it does kind of just have this certain energy to it. Like, it's very colorful. The sets are obviously great because it's Bo Welsh, but it has like a certain energy and charm to it. And Mike Myers is always entertaining in everything he does, honestly.
Except The Love Guru, which killed his career.
But yeah, I mean, he given good material, he is genuinely funny, and his delivery and stuff, it just works. Like, well, what's the one scene where like he's doing the TV thing and he's like, "Son of a bitch"?
Oh yeah, it's a parody of TV infomercials for some cupcakeinator, and he plays the chef and the annoying host at the same time.
Yeah,
the chef gets pissed. He chops off his own tail. The kids go, "Cat, your tail." And he goes, "Oh, would you look at that? I chopped it off." "Well, you see," it holds up, it's split apart. He goes, "Son of a bitch!" And then it cuts to, "We'll be right back."
That's a good joke. Like, but yeah, I can see the what was it called? I had a word for it. I can see why you enjoy it, I guess. So
yeah, there's a reason to enjoy it, but also it's terrible.
Yeah, it's objectively terrible.
It's objectively a very bad movie. And it has stupid adult jokes like cat perving on their mom or dirty hoe.
That one just came right.
I love you.
That one just came right the fuck out of nowhere. That's probably my favorite just because of how dark it is. And I was just like, how did they get away with that in a PG movie?
Or I love the fact that when he's talking about the car, I forget what he changed it to because it spells out slow. And then he says what the original name was. And Conrad, who's one of the main kids, goes like, "Oh, it spells shit. Up, too fast for the slow." And then they get in the car.
Like, yeah, it's just shit like that.
It's a bunch of stupid fucking humor, and it makes me laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have an excuse here. Fuck you.
Yep.
Anyway, that was my number 2. What do you got?
Boyo.
I don't know why I'm saying boyo.
It's just fun to say boyo.
It's true. I blame BioShock.
Yeah. My number 2 is a movie that I can't defend at all, but I had so much fun with it, I couldn't not put it on here. This is a movie that is objectively terrible, and I really can't defend it. It's a movie called Monster Force Zero.
We're Monster Force Zero. We're a ragtag team of outcasts, tech nerds, and sci-fi geeks scouring the globe, hunting down depraved terrorist groups and malevolent cabals that are secretly backed by diabolical alien forces.
I was kind of hoping I knew it so I could have some over-the-top reaction, but I've never heard of this fucking movie.
This movie is really bad, and it kind of cuts to the core, because we're both huge fucking nerds. We love anime, we love video games, we love cons. This movie feels like it's trying its damnedest to appeal to nerd culture, but it has no idea what actually makes it work. The movie oozes studio trying to be hip and appeal to a certain crowd without actually knowing what makes this crowd work. It's about...
We got a 40-something to write this script.
Yup. Oh, yeah. It's about a group of sci-fi cosplayers, and they're at a con or whatever, and it's like the most stereotypical like nerdy thing, and the dialogue is so bad because like again it feels like they're trying to like, oh, look at how nerdy these people are without actually like having anything behind it to know. Like we'd have no idea what anime is, what cons are, what the appeal of said cons are, but we're going to try to write it anyway, and it just goes over the top with it as well. It's about a group of conquerors, and they get a bunch of like they're put into a game where they get like superpowers or whatever. And I don't remember a lot of this movie because this was one I actually watched with Bo and Eric, and we had it was one of the best times I've ever had just riffing on a movie. Like we tore into this movie and it was so much fun. I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed riffing on it with my friends. Frankly, it's like the perfect movie to do that. If you're looking for something like, I'm sure that's kind of like a cult movie, but not really because this doesn't have any heart or anything in it. But it also has just random shit in it thrown into it for no reason. Like the main bully or whatever, he gets like the superpower or whatever because like they have to do a thing and then whoever gets it first gets the superpowers. And he was like, oh my gosh, you're right, this is better than sex or something like that. And then there's a random character called the Furriest who is a furry. And he's there. And that's just how it is, because, we go to cons and we see furries, so we're going to throw this in here. And none of it works. The dialogue is terrible. The movie is the least accurate representation of a con in nerd culture that you can possibly get, but I just had a lot of fun with it, frankly. So...
That's not true. The Big Bang Theory exists.
Well, okay, I'm talking about things that are actually enjoyable, Justin, and funny.
True.
But... that was my number 2, and I don't have much because, again, I can't defend it. It's terrible, but I had a hell of a good time with it. So,
just a good riff movie.
It's a great riff movie, yeah. So, yeah.
Before we get to number 1, do you have any honorable mentions you've thought of? Or...
Nope.
No, I think I listed mine of like Hardcore Henry or Shoot 'Em Up for back at number 10, number 9.
Well, actually, I take that back. I already mentioned Guns Akimbo, but I decided not to put on there. So
fair enough. Gremlins 2, I also probably could have put on here, but I feel that movie's getting a lot more of a cult following as time goes on, so not really a surprise. Most people find it funny. I'm wondering if we're about to have what happened in our first top 10.
Where, what, we chose the same thing?
Or was... No, not same thing. Because our first top 10 was performances, right?
Yeah, we both chose, I think, Joker, right?
No, we didn't choose the
Well, that
same
was
thing.
number
I went,
two,
like...
I think.
I went, like, really deep on what you were just like, this was pretty cool. I picked this because it was a pretty cool performance.
Okay. I don't think actually we will, because my number one is one I don't think you've ever heard of. So.
Well, I meant more reasoning wise, because
probably.
Number one that I have, it might be defendable. But that wouldn't be, because you could probably go with a so bad it's good. It is that type of movie, but that wouldn't be the reason. My number one is Spy Kids 3D.
Somebody ring the dingster!
Ooh, okay, all right. I'm down for that. All right, go on.
And, again, this could be, the reason of it's so bad it's good. It's Robert Rodriguez doing his kids film thing where he seems to hire 2 other people to work with him, and then he does everything and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of his whole thing. He is the one-man show, so.
Yeah, I wish he'd stop doing that so he could go back to making good movies.
Right.
Or I could even go with the reasoning that this was probably one of the last 3D movies that worked.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, honestly, I saw this in theaters when I was a kid, and it was the old red-blue glasses, and you actually saw the things fly off the screen. I've never seen that with the sunglasses after Avatar came up.
Yep, well, that's the thing, and I always say, if you have more, you can say it, but I do actually have things to say on Spy Kids 3D, so.
Okay. But the main reason is because on my grandpa on my dad's side was actually a very big sort of movie tech nerd, and he had anytime we went over, he had this big TV. I'd watch 2 movies. That was either George of the Jungle, which I honestly do not remember at all. I remember the VHS commercial of that movie more than I remember the movie itself.
I remember George of the Jungle because it had Brendan Fraser as George of the Jungle, and John Cleese was the monkey.
It's John Cleese the monkey. But the main one I watched was Spy Kids 3D. So the main reason it's at the top of this guilty pleasures thing is because it's not a good movie. It's funny. It's still you can still get a good enjoyment out of it. But the main reason I like it is because I do. Anytime I watch it, I do kind of think back to when I was younger at my grandpa's house, sitting down and watching. Cry. Hi, welcome to the fun haha list.
I'm so sorry, buddy. Oh.
I am trying to think of a way to continue, and I have nothing at the moment.
Do you still need some time?
I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, my grandpa on my dad's side passed away when I was like, I was probably like 10 or 11 at the time. So, yeah, that's one of the... That's the main reason for Spy Kids 3D is because it reminds me of the little time I had with him. So,
because I do actually, I think we both did. We both see this in theaters?
I think we both did. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, and the thing about the 3D effects is they really are. That is the thing that you can best defend about the movie. Because I think was after it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. Well, the whole 3D trend kind of died for a bit after it, and then Avatar came along.
Because initially it was huge in like the 60s and all that, like 50s and 60s. There was this big 3D craze because they figured out actually how to use the technology, and then it died down for a little bit. And then there was kind of the survival. Spy Kids started, and then Shark Boy and Lava Girl was after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spy Kids 3D was one of the last movies to use the traditional red and blue glasses for it. And the 3D effects were genuinely cool because, like you said, stuff does pop out of the screen at you. Like, you don't get that nowadays. Like, and I think the reason for that is because when Avatar came out, I distinctly remember hating the 3D craze that it brought along with it, because people realized that 3D makes money. I think like a ridiculous percent, like 70 or 80% of Avatar's sales, like total sales, came from the 3D screenings, because it was.
Well, yeah, because 3D, I think the price went up by like $3.
It was like, yeah, it was like, I think it was like $8 for a movie, but it was like 10 or 11 for the 3D screening. And they realized that by charging a little extra for the 3D, they could make way more money. And the movie was very much made for 3D. Like if you look behind the scenes stuff, there's like the actors have the things on, he has 3D cameras. Like he built it around that, and it added to the atmosphere. Like you can still feel like you're on Pandora and stuff. But after that, there were not a lot of movies made actually for 3D. I mean, I know Drive Angry technically was 3D. Like that came from that era. But the thing about 3D is it got ridiculous. Like every movie after that had to be released in 3D. And I remember reading as well, even movies that were shot completely in 2D and the director had no intention of releasing it in 3D, there were multiple instances of the studio demanding that they release it in 3D against their wishes. Like they had to convert the movie to 3D if they wanted to release it, which is shitty.
And also, something the movies did that probably ruined it is because me and my brother snuck in to see Harold and Kumar's 3D Christmas or whatever.
Nice.
But we didn't have 3D glasses because we weren't supposed to be in there.
Yep. Hey, you should have just gone to like the trash bin or whatever and grabbed glasses out of there.
Gross.
Well,
but here's the thing. We didn't have to because most of the movie is still normal. It's just like a select few seconds will have the 3D turn on.
Yeah.
Which I think that also ruins it because then your brain doesn't get used to the illusion and then it doesn't work.
Yep. Because, yeah, that's the thing. Like, in, like, 3D movies of that era, there were moments where 3D stuff happened, but it wasn't like Spy Kids where, like, there was always, like, stuff popping out at you. Like, I still always remember the one shot of like the weird crane arm thingy, like picking up something and then holding it right out at the camera for you and then pulling it back. I was like, that shit was cool.
Oh, the main one I remember is surfing on lava when all the little balls of fire are going past you, and there's like a big one that comes right at your face. It's great.
That was cool as fuck. It's shit's like that, and it's like if you're going to make a 3D movie, go all out with it. Like, yes, Spy Kids 3D would not be the same in 3D, but at least it went all the way with it. Like, the movies from that era, it felt like they couldn't decide if they wanted to be 2D or 3D.
Yeah, well, no, they decided they wanted to be 2D, but the studio said, we want money, make it 3D.
Yeah, and so you have a lot of hybrid movies, and again, the films that were kind of like made for 3D, they just didn't know what they wanted to do with it. So that's why I'm glad that craze died down, because for a while it really felt like we were going to have 3D whether we liked it or not, and that was just really annoying to me.
I wonder what happened to all the 3D TVs.
Yeah, and you know, the thing, I would still get an HD 3D TV. And you know why? Because there is a little side thing. There is a thing called the 3D Film Archive, which has restored all of these like old 50s films, and you can watch them on modern televisions with the modern glasses, which is really neat. Like, there's a lot of like classic 3D movies being released on Blu-ray, and how I found out about a lot of them is through Glenn Erickson, the Cine Savant, who I plug all the goddamn time. And it's like, you know, I think it's still worth the investment, but you probably can't find one anymore. So
yeah, probably not.
It sucks it died because they're actually...
You know, they made those TVs because they were like, if enough people buy this, we can have 3D TV channels.
Oh, they did. They tried to push that for a while. They were like there was a good time period where everyone thought 3D is the future of film. Because, you know, at that point, digital had gotten to the point where it can basically be equal quality to film. Because for a while, that didn't happen. But now it's there. And film companies were like, well, where can we go from here? Where's the next, you know, breakthrough in technology? Oh, it's 3D. So for the longest while, that was pushed. And yeah, there were some programs broadcast in 3D. Like, I remember there was a soccer game broadcast in 3D or a couple other ones, but there was only like, a handful of them, probably literally total, that were actually broadcast in 3D. So 3D TV is completely pointless because 95% of it is not going to be in 3D. You can't have technology when the things to use technology are just not there. And I think that's why it failed.
Yeah. Also, you know what's something I'm happy was seeming like an innovation but quickly was killed?
What?
The fucking 360 cameras. People were like, oh, you could make VR movies, be able to look around. Fuck no. That died so quickly. I'm so happy about it.
Imagine how much of a pain in the ass that would be. Like, you couldn't sit down. If it's a 360 movie, the whole point is looking around in 360.
Which also, you would only be looking where the plot is anyway,
Yes!
so what would be the point of looking around?
Exactly. Like, you wouldn't have a plot point, like a crucial plot point that you could miss just in the background. No, you're going to have that shit up front. That would be stupid not to have that. So... But yeah, I am glad that craze kind of died down, but it does suck because the ones that were good were really good, honestly. So, like, the only reason I buy a 3D TV is just to watch old 3D movies. I think that would be just cool as fuck. So,
like Jaws 3D, everyone's favorite.
The funny thing about that is I actually don't think it was ever released in its 3D form, or at least not until recently. Like, it was 3D, but the only thing that was available for the longest time was the flat version.
Okay, that's a whole other thing to fucking get into.
Yep. So yeah, I know we kind of went on a little tangent, but hey, it was relevant to your number one, so.
Fun episode. Anyway, what's your number one?
My number one is a movie that is not defendable at all. And it could be in one of those so bad that it's good type films. It is an old 50s sci-fi movie, and it comes from the same period as a lot of those really infamously bad ones. But this one sticks out in my mind just because it gets everything wrong that could possibly be wrong from a technical standpoint. This one is... Oh, shoot, I should have probably gotten the year. Hold on a sec. This one is 1965's Monster A-Go-Go.
Monster A-Go-Go. Here's the picture that grabs the screen and shakes it. The picture that makes you wonder if the Earth is coming to an end right in the theater in front of you. Never in your life have you seen such a combination of happy, sad, good, bad, rock'em sock'em action.
Now, do you know of this movie?
No, that title's just funny to me.
Yeah, it's very much of the time. This movie, from a sheer technical standpoint, gets everything wrong. And as a filmmaker, I find this just to be a fascinating example of just a movie, again, just nothing is done right. The acting is not done right, but from a technical standpoint, the editing is horrible. The script is terrible. The sound design is non-existent because it's all warbled and shit. It sounds like there's a ton of reverb on it, probably because they couldn't record it right correctly. And there are shots that are so overexposed, the people's faces just look white.
Okay, so what's good?
So what's good? Not practically nothing. It is one of those movies that is a complete train wreck, but one I just can't peel my eyes away from. And this is number one because it is absolutely the least defendable, and the only reason to actually kind of check it out is if you are a filmmaker and you're curious about how not to make a movie. And this movie has a hilarious backstory as well. But just to give the setup of the movie, it's about, I guess they're looking for a capsule from outer space, but then it brought back like some disease or whatever. And there's this rogue astronaut going around killing people. And it's actually played by a guy who was like 7'6" tall and really intimidating. And they're trying to stop it or whatever. But the plot, I can barely tell you because the dialogue is so warbled and it's just so confusing. Like the script feels like it's not going anywhere, and there's the moments I find hilarious. Like the opening scene is it has everything you'd want from a bad 50s production. You know how a lot of them would add this opening narration to try and make it sound deep, but it wasn't really. Kind of like how Ed Wood got the one magician guy to be like, oh yes, I'm going to spout a bunch of gibberish or whatever. It has that, because the opening narration is like, what you will see will not be believed and was never meant to be heard from human eyes or whatever. And it's like the police are doing an extensive search for this capsule, and the policeman's running around. It is a single police car and a helicopter. An extensive search for the capsule. And then they're like going on the radio, and like the first thing you hear about the dialogue is they're like in the distance and it's all reverby, and it's like, we found the thing, and you can barely hear the fucking dialogue. It's baffling how this even got into production.
So Christopher Nolan was inspired by it.
Yeah, but this is the funniest thing, and this is from Wikipedia. Monster Go-Go began as Terror at Half Day by Bill Rebane. The production ran out of money, and the film was abandoned. Herschel Gordon Lewis, who reportedly needed a second feature to compromise a double bill, purchased and completed it for a minimum amount of money. Several of the film's actors were unable to return, so Lewis simply replaced their parts with new characters who mysteriously appear and fill the roles of the missing characters.
What?
Yeah. They couldn't even get the same guys back, so it's replaced by random people. It says one of the actors Lewis managed to rehire had gained weight, gone bald, and grown a goatee, so Lewis recast him as the brother of the original character.
I can't.
Yeah.
So is this a movie like just trying to be made, or is this someone not giving a shit?
I can't answer that, and I can't decide what it is, honestly. It could be a combination of both. The picture consists mostly of lengthy dialogue sequences concerning the apparent mutation of an astronaut. That's what happened. He mutated. That was it. Yeah, I talked about that, blah, 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 blah. So, but the thing that kills me is this is so lazily written because, he purchased a movie and just wrote it whatever. At the end of the movie, there's a twist that doesn't work at all. As soldiers prepare to confront the mutated astronaut, he abruptly vanishes, and the narrator informs the audience that there was no monster and he has in fact been in the Atlantic Ocean the whole time.
What?
So all these dead bodies, all the radiation that was going on, what happened? What was this? What caused that? Are we just not good? Nope, it's just ended? Okay. That's it.
So none of it's real. Bye.
Yeah. I can't even with this movie. And it's just, there are a couple other moments that stick out in my mind as just really funny. It is like, when they do the whole I'm the brother of the main character, not yet I know everything that my brother's doing. He talks about like the radiation or whatever. He's like, well, why didn't you call this radiation this? He's like, it was almost identical to this radiation. So why wasn't it that radiation? Because I said almost identical. Well, isn't that just the same thing? No, it's not. He just explained to you that it's not identical. So he didn't call it the same thing because it wasn't identical. You fucking idiot. And right before this, he was giving a monologue about how I'm a man of the facts. It just makes
there was no joke there, and I'm holding it in.
Oh, really?
Yep. Okay.
You can tell me afterwards then.
Yeah.
But I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing on this movie. And it is something that I was so fascinated by how everything was done wrong. I just couldn't stop watching. And it's another fun one to riff on, but it's just, I can't recommend people watching it just because there is no pacing. There is no plot. There is no It's a movie that exists, and that's about it. And I've never in my life seen a movie so incompetently put together as this one. But I was just fascinated with it. Just as a filmmaker, it just kind of appealed to me because I could look at everything that went wrong and kind of pick apart how they made this and just be like, what in the goddamn hell were they thinking? When it comes to 50s Z movies, this isn't even a Z movie. This is a movie that's not even on the alphabet because it just exists. And that's all I can say about that.
It's in the void between the letters.
Yes, exactly. And that's all I can say of this movie. Like, if you are an aspiring filmmaker and you want to watch the worst of 50s, bad 50s sci-fi and know what not to do in a movie, watch this movie and check it out. That's the only reason I can say to watch this movie. When I would rather recommend Monster Force Zero than this movie, I think that easily takes number one. But yeah, just a fascinating train wreck that I found hilarious. So that's that.
Yeah, so that's the top 10.
All right. So yeah, thank you for joining us for that. This is another quite long one, but hey, it's fine because that's just inherently how these are. So
I mean, yeah, top 10s are usually long.
Yep.
So last episode was Ministry of Fear. So after this is The Voices. Which we still have to record.
And watch.
Yes. As at time of recording, we are currently catching up.
Yeah, we were supposed to record this like 2 weeks ago, but never got to.
Yep. Because someone waited a while to rewatch a goddamn movie.
Yeah, I did.
But
I waited too long. That's on me. My bad. So
and then after that, we will finish up pushing up Daisy season 2.
You did again.
Whatever. Damn it! Pushing Daisy season 2. Then we'll do whatever movie comes after The Voices, which will be back on the sellout wheel. And then we'll get back to Fringe.
Which I'm very excited for. So
yeah, so that is what is going on.
And I think that's it, huh?
That's about it. I don't know how to sign off from this.
We never do.